everybody, and welcome to Purplethunderwolf. My name is James Wolf, and this is Madvertisin. This is a brand new series to the channel where we're going to take a bit of an in-depth look at some of the packaging and branding that we come across in our everyday lives. Now, I think we all know by now that companies will use different techniques in order to get you to buy their products. Different colors, different jingles, or even slogans, logos, etc., all used to help get you to buy their product. And there's nothing wrong with that, that's good business, that's the way enterprise works. But sometimes some of the companies will use words or labels, and especially on their packaging, put things on there that, while they may not be untrue or even false, are frankly just either misleading, nonsensical, or honestly just designed to lure you in with absolutely no basis in fact whatsoever. Now, disclaimer, this is not my endorsement or anti-endorsement of any product. This does not mean the products do not work, it doesn't mean the products are no good. This is merely my personal commentary on the product's labeling and on what I see and what I view. Whether you buy them or not is up to you. I make no recommendations either way on the products themselves, and I certainly do not have the endorsement of any of the companies that you see within. So, we're going to start off, we're going to have 3 products today, and we're going to start off with this particular one, and this is the Rexona Men's Antiperspirant Deodorant, whatever it's called, deodorant. So I don't know if you can see there, just under the label it says, Rexona says Motion Sense. Now the entire Rexona range has this written on their cans, or the entire range of this men's Rexona. It says Motion Sense. And it says on the back, if you can see there, can we get it to focus? No, we can't. I'll read it. It says, Rexona with Motion Sense responds directly to movement, providing you with all-day freshness. So it responds directly to movement. Now, I did a little bit of research as to exactly what this Motion Sense refers to. Because reading that would imply to me, the word motion sense, and it's one word, it's not motion sensing or anything like that, it says motion sense, which to me suggests that the product can tell when I'm moving and responds directly from that. Now I looked up the research on the actual technology that they are claiming, because a lot of companies will put stuff like that, and that's the name they will give to the technology that they've created to make their product better. So their motion sense technology is basically that within the chemical spray, there's tiny microscopic little beads of the kind of deodorant, the powder, or the chemicals, or whatever. And as you basically move around and brush, and especially under your arms, move your arms past it, it will disintegrate and dissolve the little beads, which will then break open, thereby releasing the chemicals. Now, strictly speaking, I guess you could argue that as it says, it responds directly to movement. But it's not motion sensing. It doesn't actually sense that you're moving. It reacts to what you're doing. It reacts to your motion, You're destroying the surface of the little beads, and therefore they are releasing. That's the motion that's caused that. But motion sense, it's not sensing anything. The product is inert. It has absolutely no ability to know that you're moving. It doesn't understand that you're moving. It doesn't have any conscious thought that you've moved. Yes, again, it like a lot of these things, it's a two-way thing. Yes, you could argue that strictly speaking, if you were really going for legal terminology, that's okay, but it's one of those things. The can seems to be implying that their deodorant knows when you're moving. It knows you've gone for a run and activates itself immediately. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything like that. And that's definitely the implication that the can is making, I believe, is that this formula is supposed to somehow know that you've gone for a run. It's supposed to know that you're moving around. It's just chemicals. It has no idea that you're even there. It might respond because you have done something to it, but frankly that's you causing something to react. You're causing the chemicals to be released. So it's frankly you're doing something more than the actual deodorant's doing. The deodorant's just reacting to you as you cause the movement. The second thing I have with it is down here where they usually have what is usually the scent or the so-called flavor of these products. Now this one, in particular one, I have an issue with, is called Quantum Dry. Now I think we all know what dry means, free from moisture or liquid. So I looked up the word quantum. The quantum says the minimum amount of physical entity involved in an interaction. I think I got that right, yeah. So basically, it's trying to imply, it's supposed to be sort of, if you read the actual definition, it's sort of implying that you don't need much effort in order for this product to work. Well, I guess that's sort of what it's implying, but realistically, the idea of deodorant is that when you're very active, it keeps you dry and clean and smelling nice or whatever. So it's not really designed for the minimum amount of reaction. Like, I guess they could be arguing that you don't need much for it to work, and therefore it reacts quicker to your needs. But it's basically just a big scientific sounding word that they've slapped on the front of it. And the putting it together, quantum dry, is not a phrase that really means anything. You can't just stick two words together and have them work as like a description, and it's certainly not the flavor, the smell of the product. It doesn't tell you what this smells like. It doesn't tell you what's going to come out of the can. All it tells me is that they've picked a nice scientific sounding word to try and sell this product. The word quantum might vaguely be something that kind of relates to this product, but it certainly doesn't really have anything to do with the deodorant as a whole. They've just gone with and you can tell with the designs. The designs on the product designed to look streamlined and high tech. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't actually say that it's high tech, but using this word quantum dry like that, it is I think it's misleading. Like I said, it's just a big scientific word they've slapped on the front to try and get you to buy the product. It doesn't really relate to the product at all. Yes, the dry part does. If you say that it's a dry form, it's a deodorant. It's designed to keep moisture and sweat away, but the whole thing, they've just kind of slapped on a bunch of high-tech words in order to sell it to you. And as I said at the beginning, there's nothing wrong with advertising price. There's nothing wrong with trying to sell something by being descriptive, but there's a limit, I think, on how far you can push what words you're using to describe what your product does. It doesn't sense my motion. It reacts to my motion, absolutely. It's reactive, but it has no senses. It cannot sense. It has no radar, it has no emotions, it has no feelings or nerve system. It cannot sense me. To me, that is either a lie or it's a big stretch of the truth. So, once again, I probably shouldn't be accusing companies of lying. I'm not saying they are lying. Obviously, someone's looked at this, the watchdog or whoever it is that looks for advertising products and stuff like that. So they've obviously passed. This has been out for a long time, but like with a lot of these, it's just another example of a company being, frankly, just deceptive in order to sell their products. So that is the Rexona men's deodorant. Just a lot of scientific nonsense, basically. So from that one, we will move on now. And if you can see beside me, I don't actually have this product with me. So we move on to the Simply Venus Women's Razor. So this particular product, I don't know if you can pick up on what the slight discrepancy for me is. This one isn't about whether or not they're being misleading. It's more about the simple stupidity of the statement on it. So if you can see on the packaging there, it has in big letters, less nicks and cuts. Now, obviously what they're trying to imply is that their blades and their product glide so smoothly along your skin that you won't nick or cut yourself. My problem with that is that if you nick or cut yourself, it's pretty much the fault of the person doing it. Unless you're shaving with like a rusty, half-broken blade, anytime you cut yourself, it's your fault. It's the fault of the person operating the blade. You're not scraping your skin with glass. It's a razor blade. You're only nicking or cutting yourself if you are careless. Less nicks, it's implying that the product itself can prevent you from nicking or cutting yourself. That's nonsense. You can take the safest, smoothest shaving razor blade on the planet and still nick or cut somebody. It's just nonsense. They're trying to make it sound like it's much safer, it's smoother, it does a better job. I get it, but the product is incapable of having anything to do with that, really. You can take the best blade or the worst blade. If you get somebody who knows what they're doing, it's not going to make the slightest bit of difference. You're not going to cut yourself. Or if they don't know what they're doing, they will cut themselves. Again, it's not a fraudulent claim, it's just silly advertising. It's just a silly thing they put on there for the heck of it. And it's unnecessary. So that's the Simply Venus women's razors. Well, that particular razor with the cartridges or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they felt they need to put that on there. My final product is not about necessarily fraudulent claims or about incorrect language. This particular one I found more amusing than anything else, I gotta be honest, but I found it to be also just a little bit insulting. So we have here, so this is the Maharajas Choice Red Split Lentils. So obviously they're just kind of red lentils, you use them for soup or whatever it is. Now, upon looking, you might not think there's anything too wrong with this. First of all, the brand name is Maharajas Choice. So, for those of you who do not know, a Maharaja is actually like an Indian prince or royalty. It's a king. It's like one of the highest kind of positions in Indian culture. The Maharajas, at least in the old days, I'm not sure what the situation is now, but they used to be pretty much the rulers of India. The very brand name itself, Maharajas Choice. I mean, the implication being that the very king, the very ruler of the land himself, would eat these lentils if he was going to eat lentils. These are the brand he would pick. They're as good as he would have himself, which I think is incredibly insulting, particularly in cultures where it's a case of royalty. This isn't just the leader. He's not like an elected politician. A Maharaja is like a king sort of thing. It's lineage based. They're very highly honored and respected, and they're usually used to the finest things in life. So the implication being that the Maharaja would pick these particular lentils, first of all, is utter nonsense. Second of all, the implication being that the words Maharaja's Choice, he's chosen these lentils as his favorite. The idea that a Maharaja would even bother to pick his favorite lentils and say, these are the ones I want, is just utter nonsense. And my question is that if he has picked these as his favorite lentils, these are the lentils he likes, why are they being sold to us? Surely a king, someone as high up as him in the Indian world, these would be all saved for him. They would go directly to the royal people. They wouldn't be coming to the common people. They wouldn't be mass selling these in supermarkets. They'd be going to the Maharaja. He would be eating them because they're his lentils. They're the highest quality lentils. Also implying that he's tested every type of lentil possible and he has chosen these as his favorite. Not to mention, since this is such a mass sold product in supermarkets all over, not only our country but I'm sure others, it would imply that there are thousands and thousands of tons of these lentils that he approves of and would eat himself, which in all honesty would mean that he probably isn't all that picky about the quality of his lentils, meaning the whole term, Maharaja's Choice, the whole brand name, is just a giant joke. If he picks these and thousands of other packets that get sold every day, then he honestly isn't all that picky and the quality really doesn't make any difference, does it? Possibly my two favorite things about this product is that despite all this packaging, despite what it's saying that is Maharaja's Choice, this is an Australian company who have absolutely no connection to India at all, as far as I can tell. And on the back it says Product of Australia. It actually says Product of Australia. Which means these aren't even Indian lentils. So they're telling me that the Maharaja's Choice in lentils is an Australian branded, Australian owned and produced lentil that is mass produced for thousands of people. But these are the ones he specifically wants, and he's allowing his lentils to be sold to everybody else. And then, for me, the absolute capper on all this is remember, it's an Australian company. Slap an elephant on the label. Of course. These lentils are Indian. They say Maharaja on them. You gotta have an elephant on the label. They already have the logo. They have the logo here. Maharaja's Choice. It says so right there. That's the logo. I have it again on the back. That's the logo. This is just an elephant for the sake of being an elephant. This is frankly what I consider to be slightly racist. Okay? Indian lentils, Maharaja name, let's slap an Indian elephant on there. Because Indians and elephants, you know, they're synonymous, of course. What does an elephant have to do with lentils? Does the elephant pick the lentils? Do they ride elephants to the lentils? No. Well, I'm assuming they don't. Why does an elephant even need to be on that label? They have a logo. The elephant is just an added thing to make you think, hey, these are Indian, which they're not. They're very clearly a product of Australia. They're very clearly an Australian company. They've utilized the name of the ruler of a country, the position of a country, to try and imply that these are the best lentils there are. So they've impugned the lineage of the royal lines of another country. They've made horribly racist overtones on the entire packaging. The whole thing is just a giant joke from start to finish. Why is the elephant there? What does that elephant mean? He's not even doing anything in the picture. It's just an elephant in a circle of the lentils that the Maharaja chooses to give to everybody else that are made in Australia en masse. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about slightly fraudulent advertising. It's not a lie, it's just silly. Okay? So, we had a look at 3 different examples today. We looked at products that use words that are not exactly true, but sound impressive, even though they have not that much relevance to the product. We looked at one where it wasn't a fraudulent claim, it's just unnecessary extra dribble on the packet, trying to imply something that the product has no control over. The products don't have control over a lot of these things. And then we looked at products that are insulting, and frankly, they've just utilized whatever terminology they can in order to make it seem like it's from a certain area, and it's not. It very clearly isn't. In almost all these cases, once again, they're not lying out and out lies, but it's just deceptive and completely silly and unnecessary language. So hopefully this video was a little bit of fun for you guys. I intend to do a few more of these if I can find some more stuff. I have a few more lined up anyway. I won't always necessarily have the product, but I should at least have images of the product I can show you guys. Once again, this is not my endorsement for or against these products, but I think as sensible consumers, we need to be aware and realize that when we read packaging, you need to do a little bit more than just glance at something before you pick it up. It's like a lot of these products or deodorants and different things with smells and flavors, and they'll just name it anything they want. They'll use any word, and it doesn't mean anything. So I do urge all of you to have a bit of closer look at what you're buying, not just the ingredients or the country of origin, all that's very important, but have a look at the terminology they're using on their brands. Have a look at what descriptive words they're using to try and lure you in. Do those words even mean anything like what they're implying? Do they even have any relevance to the product that they're using them for? It might sound impressive, it might sound enticing, but does it have anything to do with what you're buying? I think it's important that we all do that because it's our money and we work hard to earn it, and we don't need to be wasting it on products that either don't live up to their claims or are just making stuff up. Anyway, my name has been James Wolf. My name still is James Wolf. This has been Madvertisin. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you next time.